Welcome back to another project. In this project, we're going to create a button ripple effect. As you can see from the final version of the project, we have a button, and if we hover over the button from any direction, we see a ripple that starts from that position. For example, if we go from this side, we can see that the ripple starts from that side. We're going to use JavaScript to get the position of the mouse when we enter from any direction of the button, and also we are going to use CSS to create such a beautiful rippling effect. In the next section, we're going to start with the HTML part of the project. So see you in the next section. All right, let's start our project. First, we open the Visual Studio Code, and here we close the Get Started tab. In the File menu, we click on the Open folder. I would like to create the project in my desktop, but you can create it anywhere you like in your computer. So here we click on the desktop, and here we click on the New Folder button to create a new folder. We name the folder Button Ripple Effect, which is the name of our project. We press enter, and here we click on the select folder to select the folder. We close the Get Started tab again, and here on the left in the Explorer section, we create an HTML file. We right click and we click on the new file. We name the file index.html and we press enter. Now on the right side, we have our index.html file, which is completely empty, but we can use an exclamation mark to create an HTML5 boilerplate. So we write an exclamation mark, and here we click on the first auto suggestion. Now we have our HTML5 boilerplate, and here the first line is doc type, which tells the browser which version of HTML the page is written in. And in our case, we write only HTML because we are using HTML5. Then we have HTML tag, which is the top level element of the HTML file, and it includes the head tag and the body tag. The lang attribute inside the HTML opening tag sets the language of the page, and in our case, we set the language to be English. Then we have the head tag, which includes the meta tags and the title tag. The charset attribute inside the first meta tag defines the HTML character encoding, and in our case, we set it to be UTF-8, which is recommended by HTML5 because it contains nearly all the characters and symbols. Then we have this meta tag, which tells the Internet Explorer browser to use the most recent rendering engine, which is Edge. The viewport meta tag tells the browser on how to resize the page. And these two sections inside the content attribute, firstly, they set the page's width to device's screen's width. For example, the mobile screen will be smaller than the computer screen. Then the second part sets the initial zoom level of the browser, which is, in our case, is 100%. Let's use Alt-C to turn on the word wrap so we can see all the codes clearly. And after these meta tags, we have the title tag here, which sets the title of the browser. In order to see the browser inside the Visual Studio Code, we can right click and we click on Live Preview, Show Preview, which enables us to see our website in real time when we are changing our code. Now on the right side, we see our website, which has the title document. Let's change the title to our page's name, which is Button Ripple Effect. And let's close this Explorer section to have more space on the right side. And in the body section, we just have a button to be in the middle of the screen later. And we can add the ripple effect using JavaScript and CSS to this button. We use an anchor tag for this button. And the class we want to add is btn. And the href would be a hashtag, which means that we're not going to anywhere by clicking on the button. And we have a span, in the middle and we just write button. The reason we are adding span is because we want to later add effect on the button, and in order to see the text inside the button, when we're hovering over the button and we are adding the effect, we want to bring up this spam using z-index. Later, we're going to see it and you're going to understand it clearly. But for now, we just write it like this. And in the next section, we're going to use CSS to style this button and bring it to the center and add the hovering effect and also the ripple effect. So see you in the next section for the CSS part of our project. All right, in the last section, we have finished with the HTML part of our project. In this section, we are going to style our project using CSS. First, we need to create a CSS file. We just open the Explorer section using Ctrl-Shift-E, and on the left side in the Explorer section, we right-click and we click on the new file. We name the file style.css and we press enter. Before using CSS in our project, we need to add a link to the CSS file within the HTML code. So we go back to the index.html and just after the title tag, we add a link tag. We just write link and we click on the third auto suggestion, the one with the CSS. Now we have a link tag with the relationship between the HTML file and the external style sheet, which is the style.css. The href attribute defines the destination of the link, and as both files, the index.html and the style.css, are located at the same directory, we just need to have a style.css for the URL. And now we can use CSS in our project. We just close the Explorer section on the left side by dragging this bar to the left, and we save this file using Ctrl-S, and we go to style.css and we start with the body section of our project. We just write body, we open a set of curly braces. First, we remove the margin, the default margin around the body of the body element using margin 0. Then we want to bring this button to the center. First, we bring it to the center horizontally using display flex and justify content center. Then for bring it to the center vertically, we can set the height to be 100% of the viewport height, which means all the screen size from top to bottom. Then we can use align item center to bring it to the center vertically. Let's add a background color. We just say background color and we set it to Alice blue or Alice blue, which is a creamy color. Then we change the font of this button using font family and we set it to be sans serif. After body section, let's start styling the button. The button had the class of btn, so we just need to target this class using .btn. We just change the background color first to see it properly. We just set it to be pink. We change the padding. We add some padding to the top and bottom, 20 pixels, and left and right, 40 pixels. So we have a very big button, so we can see the ripples later easily. Let's change the border. We make the border rounded using border radius, and we set it to be 5 pixels. And let's add some box shadow to the button. The first value in the box shadow is the position of the horizontal shadow. We set it to be 0. The next one is the position of the vertical shadow. We set it to be 4 pixels. We can see it at the bottom. Then we add the blur radius using, we set it to be 8 pixels. The shadow, the color of the shadow is blue. We want it to be black. We can use RGBA function to set the color. We use 0 for red, 0 for green, and 0 for blue for the red color. And we just set the 0.3 for the alpha value, which means 30% transparency or opacity. Now we have a beautiful button. Here, let's remove this line under the button text using text decoration none. And let's change the color of the text to black. Then that's fine for the button for now. And the next things is to add the hover effect and add something inside that has a ripple effect. So in order to add this, we can use the before pseudo element to add this content. We have to set the content to empty first for the before and after pseudo elements. And then we need to position this absolute. We want to position it absolute. So in order to have this one absolute, we need to use its parents to be relative. So we position this relative, and we cannot see it yet. Let's add some color to it, which we set the color to orange red, but still we cannot see it. We add the width to, for example, 20 pixels and height to 20 pixels as well. So we can see this one here. And we want to bring it to the center. So we set the left to 50% and top to 50% as well. And in order to bring it exactly to the center, we can use, I mean exactly, but because we brought the edge of this element to the center, not the middle of it. So we can use transform translate. And we set the X and Y to minus 50%. So it came to the center exactly. Let's add some border radius. Let's set it to be 50%. So it becomes like a circle. And that's fine for it. And we want, when we hover over the button, this circle, the size of this circle increases. So in order to target the hovering effect, we can just say btn hover. So when someone hovered over the button, and we want to target this before pseudo elements, and we set the width to be, for example, 300 pixels and height to 300 pixels as well. So when we hover over them, we can see a big circle, but it's bigger than the button. So we can use here overflow hidden for a button to remove the extra hovering. So we just say overflow hidden. So now we're getting this one. And in order to see that ripple effect, we can use a transition to make it a little bit more smooth. And the transition should be on both width and height. So for the width, we add 0.5 second. And for the height, so we add a comma here. For height, we add 0.5 second as well. So now when we hover over the button, we can see this hovering effect. So let's remove this width and height. So we set it to 0, so we don't see it. But anywhere we enter the button, we see this hovering effect from the center because we set the left and top to be in the center. Later, using JavaScript, we're going to target the mouse position, and we center this circle from the position of the mouse. Let's bring this button to the top. As you remember, we add a span for the button text. So we can target this here. We just say btn, and we target that span, and we change the z index to 1. But before doing that, we need to change the position to relative. And we change the z-index to 1. The normal default z-index is 0, but when you set it to 1, it comes over all the elements. So now we see the button over everything else. That was it for the CSS part of the project. In the next section, we're going to add the functionality to our projects using JavaScript, and we are going to start this rippling effect exactly from the place that the mouse enter into the button. So see you in the next section for the JavaScript part of our project. All right, in the last section, we have finished with the CSS part of our project. In this section, we're going to start adding functionality to our project using JavaScript. First, we need to create a JavaScript file. We just need to first open the Explorer section using Ctrl-Shift-E. And on the left side, we right-click and we click on the new file. We name the file index.js and we press enter. Now we have our index.js here. But before using the JavaScript in our project, we must add a link to this index.js file within the HTML code. So we switch to index.html, and just at the end of the body section, we add a script tag. We just write sc, and we click on the second auto suggestion, the one with the src. The src attribute defines the destination of the link, and as both files are located at the same directory, we just need to write the index.js for the URL. Now we can use the JavaScript in our project. Let's close this Explorer section first. And then the only things we need here is this button element. We need to return it inside the JavaScript. And the button has the class of btn. So in order to return an element with a class, we just need to use query selector method. So we just write here btn element equal to document dot query selector, and the element we want to return is button. So we just write dot btn here. And we need to add an add event listener method to this button to track the mouse event when we moving the mouse inside the button. So we just say btn element.add event listener, and the event we want to listen is mouse over. And when the mouse over happens, we want to trigger a function. And here inside this parenthesis, we can get the event, which is the position of, we can get the position of x, y, and anything inside related to this mouse over event. Let's console log the event dot page x. So when we open the console log, when we go inside this button, we can see a number inside the console. When we move it, we can see different numbers. In the left, we have a smaller, in the right, we have a bigger numbers, but this x is from this point to here. All right. And we have also the y. We can get the y as well. So this is the position from the top to this place. But in order to get the position exactly inside the button, for example, here will be 0 and increases until here for the x, and from the top to bottom, we need to subtract this amount from the position of the button from the top. So in order to get this one, we can use btn element dot for the y, for example, we can use offset top. Now, when we go here, we can get the position from the top of the button. As you can see, it starts from 0 to goes to the bottom here. So here at the top, it's almost 0. It shows -1. And from the bottom is like a 57. For the x, we need to subtract this number from the offset left instead of offset top. So here should be 1 or near 1. There you see -1. And this way would be 125. So in this case, we can set this value here, left and top, instead of center. We just get this point, any point that the mouse is entering. But unfortunately, you cannot have access to the before pseudo class, pseudo element inside JavaScript, because the before and after pseudo elements are not part of the DOM. But the things we can do is just add a variable here, and we change the variable inside the JavaScript. So here inside this before element, we just add a variable, and we call it, for example, x position. And for the top one, we just say, for example, y position. And we can change this variable inside JavaScript using set property method. So here, first, let's save these numbers. For example, we save this one. We call it x, and we copy this. We change this y to this one y, and we change the variable that we have created here. In this way, we just write down that style because we want to change the style, and we change the set property. And the property we want to change is x positions. Inside a double quote, we just write down x position, and we set this to be equal to this x plus pixels, because this is just a number. We wanted this left and top are based on pixel or percentage. So we do the same things for the y as well. So we just use the style and set property, and this one is y position, and the value is we're getting from here y plus pixels. So now if we enter from any side of the button, we can see the ripples, it starts from that point. So the center of the circle starts from here and increases its size from top, this way, that way, anywhere. Yeah, let's check this inside the browser as well. So we open this inside the browser. You can see it here. All right. That was it for our project. I hope you enjoyed and learned many things. That was a kind of a cool button that you can use for your own website. So see you in the next project.